Iceland doesn't have giant arenas like Spain or the UK, but what it does have are tight, quirky, weather-beaten grounds that feel almost carved into the landscape. These stadiums are small, loud, and full of character. Let's run through 20 of the biggest, from 1,600 seats to the edge of 10,000, and see what makes each one feel special. 20. LeiknisvÄ. We start tiny. LeiknisvÄ sits on the eastern side of Reykjavik, tucked inside a quiet neighborhood where football feels close to the ground. Built as a community pitch for llur Reykjavik, it isn't a classic stadium with grandstands. It's more like a tight bowl of grass, a few seats, and a fence that feels too close to the action. The charm here is the simplicity. 19. KR-völlur. This stadium sits in a fishing town on the north coast, surrounded by mountains that look like they were drawn in a postcard. Home to Dalvik/Rainier, the stadium has this old-school, open feel. You don't come here for fancy stands or heated seats. You come for raw Icelandic football. Most fans stand along the touchline, leaning on metal rails and talking through the entire game. 18. llur. This stadium belongs to llur FC, a team known for its strong youth system. The stadium, located near Keflavik Airport, has a small, friendly setup. One main stand, a few sheltered seats, and a clean synthetic pitch that lets football keep going in tough weather. The club invested in upgrades during the 2010s, installing better lighting and improved facilities for younger players. 17. Llur. Far out in East Iceland, Llur is the beating heart of Icelandic football. The town is small, but the enthusiasm is not. The stadium sits on open land with long views of the surrounding hills. It has a compact stand and a simple track around the pitch. Local club Hotter plays here, and the place comes alive during regional matches, especially in summer. 16. Valbjarnarvöllur. Home to llur Reykjavik. This stadium sits near Laugardalur, Reykjavik's sporting hub. Built with a more structured layout than some of the tiny grounds on this list, the stadium has proper seating, locker rooms, and training facilities that were upgraded through the 2000s. It's still small, but it has personality. The red and white club colors show up everywhere, from signs to youth banners hanging from the fence. 15. Llnisvälur. Things start getting bigger here. Llnisvälur is in Grafarvogur, one of Reykjavik's newer districts. The club, Llur, invests heavily in youth football, and you can see that in the layout, training pitches all around, a nicely kept artificial surface, and a main stand that sits a little higher than most suburban Icelandic grounds. Its roughly 1,100 seat capacity is modest, but it feels busy on match days. 14. Hlíðarenda. Here's a modern one. Hlíðarenda is home to Valur, one of Iceland's biggest and most successful clubs. While the capacity hovers around 1,200, the stadium punches above its weight. Built in the late 2000s, Hlíðarenda has clean lines, a sharp rectangular shape, and seats in bright red. The complex includes top-tier training facilities, indoor halls, and even office spaces. 13. Víkingsvöllur. Home to Víkingur Reykjavik, this stadium has attitude. The club's black and red identity is everywhere, from banners to their fierce Viking logo hanging near the entrance. Víkingsvöllur is known for being loud, even without large crowds. The stands rise close to the pitch, and the acoustics trap noise in a fun way. Recent upgrades improved seating and pitch quality, making it more suitable for European games. 12. Grindavíkurvöllur. In the southwest, near the Blue Lagoon and volcanic fields, Grindavíkurvöllur feels exposed to the elements, and that's part of the charm. The stadium has a long main stand and a smaller opposite terrace. The pitch is known for being one of the windiest in the league, with strong gusts bending shots in odd directions. Grindavík's supporters are loyal, even when the team moves between divisions. 11. KR-völlur. This stadium belongs to KR Reykjavik, the oldest and one of the most historic clubs in Iceland. Built decades ago and upgraded several times, it sits on the west side of the city. The stadium has an old-school charm, tight stands, and a pitch that feels boxed in. KR's fan base is strong, and when the team pushes for titles, KR-völlur feels bigger than it is. 10. KR-völlur. Up north, where the winters hit hard and football feels tougher, you'll find KR-völlur. It's the home of KA and one of those old-school Icelandic fields built more for passion than polish. The stadium dates back to the post-war years, when locals wanted a proper home for football in the region. Most of the stands are exposed to the wind, which gives match days a raw feel. 9. Icelandic. Perched on the volcanic Westman Islands, Icelandic might be Iceland's most dramatic stadium setting. The home of BV, it sits in a natural bowl shaped by old eruptions. Construction developed in phases through the 20th century, but the defining feature is its backdrop, steep cliffs rising behind the stands. BV fans are known to bang drums so loud the echo bounces off the rocks. 8. Valsvöllur. It's the home of Valur, one of Iceland's oldest and most decorated clubs. The stadium went through major improvements in the 2000s, adding better dressing rooms and a polished main stand. It's not flashy, but it has a clean, modern feel that suits the club's image. Valur's youth system is one of the best in Iceland, and many national team players have spent time here. 7. llur. This ground sits in the south and serves as home to UMF Selfoss. The stadium was rebuilt and expanded in the early 2010s after the local club pushed for better facilities. The pitch is surrounded by wide open fields, giving it a calm, rural feel. Selfoss women's team has become one of the most promising sides in the country. 6. Icelandic. This is the home of llur Reykjavik, and the stadium carries a corporate name thanks to a long partnership with the rental car giant. Built in the mid-1900s and steadily modernized, the ground feels simple but functional. It gets busy during youth tournaments, since llur runs one of Reykjavik's biggest football communities. The stadium has a smooth, well-kept artificial surface, perfect for Iceland's unpredictable weather. 5. KR-völlur. It was built in 1975 and became the home of Breiðablik, one of Iceland's fastest rising clubs. What makes this place interesting is how quickly Breiðablik's success outgrew the stadium. They've won both domestic titles and youth trophies, and they played in European qualifiers here. The ground has a classic Icelandic look, one modern stand on one side, open terracing on the other. 4. Keflavíkurvöllur. Built in the 1970s, it's the home of Keflavik F and has hosted some wild matches over the years. Because it's so close to the sea, the wind plays a huge role. Long balls can hang in the air like they're waiting for orders. The stadium has slowly expanded to nearly 5,000, making it one of the few mid-sized Icelandic grounds. 3. Akranesvöllur, Norðurlúrin. One of Iceland's oldest football homes sits in Akranes, the birthplace of A. Akranesvöllur dates back to the 1930s, and you can feel that old charm the moment you walk in. The wooden stands, the close pitch, and the small-town energy make matches feel personal. The stadium was renamed Norðurlúrin after a sponsorship deal, but most fans still call it Akranesvöllur. 2. Keflavík. This is FH's home, a club that dominated Iceland from the early 2000s onward. The stadium sits beside an indoor sports hall, and its modern look comes from continuous upgrades as FH kept winning trophies. The pitch is excellent, the stands are tight, and the atmosphere can be intense. On big match days, especially against KR or Valur, the place feels like a bowl of noise. 1. Laugardalsvöllur. The national stadium. The big one. Laugardalsvöllur isn't huge by European standards, but for Iceland, it's the heart of football. Built in 1958 and modernized many times since, it hosts the national team and major domestic finals. The stadium burst into world headlines during Iceland's Euro 2016 and 2018 World Cup runs. Attendance for qualifiers regularly pushes the 10,000 limit, and the Viking clap became a global symbol of the team. That wraps up our look at the 20 biggest stadiums on Iceland's football map. They may be small, sometimes tiny, but each one tells a story about how the game grows in tough weather and tight communities. These grounds aren't built for show. They're built for heart, long drives, and players who don't mind a little wind in their face. If you've enjoyed this trip through Iceland's football backbone, stick around for more. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.